Dixie Highway, locally anointed as the Crossroads of America. Lincoln was an inescapable presence, an oracle, tragic icon, and immortal prophet of how to live free and prosper. His name and likeness were ubiquitous. His image is just about everywhere in the Prairie State, including on its license plates. Growing up, I visited Lincoln's home, his tomb, his law office, and walked by the site of his 1860 presidential nomination hundreds of times. At my favorite museum, a vending machine melted plastic into busts of Lincoln. The railroad he shepherded as a legislator and defended as a lawyer, the Illinois Central, ran through my town, Matson. I rode it to college at the University of Illinois Chicago and later to work in the Windy City. It rumbled every day I lived there, a constant reassurance that life and commerce continued along this iron ribbon of time and space, at least from Chicago to New Orleans. Yet nearly all things Lincoln that I knew as a child and well into my adulthood concerned the iconic Lincoln, martyred Civil War president, brilliant author of the Gettysburg Address and inaugural speeches, virtuous rail splitter, issuer of the Emancipation Proclamation. I remember seeing his epic burial edifice in Springfield, heralded with an obelisk, for the first time on a school field trip. Those unfamiliar with Lincoln might think a pharaoh was buried in his resting place. Nevertheless, to Prairie Staters who have endured decades of corrupt politicians and incarcerated governors, Abe was our Moses. For me, researching and writing Lincolnomics illuminated a spiritual and political tablet for a fundamental direction forward through loss, grief, political combustion, ecological catastrophes, and social upheaval. We are always seeking the better angels of our nature. Lincoln's celestial guidance is still essential. On how to move ahead, Lincoln's philosophies and actions could not be more instructive. Introduction. Why Lincoln was our greatest builder but doesn't get the credit. As a moral policy leviathan, Lincoln reshaped the world. His role of Civil War commander-in-chief and as author of the Emancipation Proclamation and Gettysburg Address still ignites our aspirations for a more perfect union. He was a proactive and progressive genius when it came to economic policy. Universal access to personal economic progress, to Lincoln an inalienable right, was at the core of his mission. Yet Lincoln was more than his great speeches and status as victor of a defining war. He was a global influencer of labor recognition, capital investment, and nation-building. Long before he became an elected official, Lincoln believed that American egalitarianism should be the model for the rest of the world, and his work toward this ideal had a global impact. Few know the extent to which Lincoln embraced innovation. He is the only president who patented his own invention. He personally sought to understand the relationship between labor and capital. The core of Lincolnomics is the 16th president's belief that building infrastructure and promoting technology, economic opportunity, and education were the keys to America's future. This vision was so profound, comprehensive, and enduring that it helped engender the maturation of the most powerful nation on earth, a vision we desperately need to revive. Historian Jan Morris points out that Lincoln's proclivity for championing internal improvements at every level, even at the height of the Civil War, made him unique among American presidents. With his lifelong interest in rivers, canals, and railroads, he studied the techniques of military communications. He concerned himself with weaponry, both naval and military. He tried out new guns, inspected new ships. He eagerly interviewed inventors who brought their new ideas to the White House. In the light of economic progress, Lincoln was much more than the great emancipator. As a man who cherished the kind of education he never received, he helped revolutionize public education, research, development, and infrastructure. Emerging from the wilderness shaped his thinking on how to equitably link a growing nation with the needs of commerce and industry. Not only did Lincoln view economic progress through a pragmatic lens of what would get Illinois grain, hogs, lumber, and industrial goods to Eastern, and later global, markets, he used the Declaration of Independence as its basis. Slavery, of course, was the leaden impediment to this view. Lincolnomics.